Hello and a very warm welcome to this special as we review the first ODI between India and South Africa that was played at Paarl. India have lost that match by 31 runs, but what could India have done better? Where did they falter? What will they look to change going into the next match? I have Shubhayan Chakravarti with me here. Shubhayan, 31 runs, but the difference really was how South African batsmen how they created a partnership. When South Africa was 68 for 3, India thought that they were cruising at that point, but Rassie van der Dussen and Temba Bavuma carried on the form from the Test series and scoring 2 centuries really changed the match.
Absolutely, Meha. You are spot on here, and this is why ODI cricket is so much interesting. It is not a short capsule like T20 cricket. Neither it is a long form like Test cricket. It is a mix between the two, and that is where South Africa applied themselves pretty well. Be it Rassie van der Dussen or Temba Bavuma, both played centuries, both scored centuries, and that partnership was ultimately the differential between India and South Africa. For India, there was nothing. The partnership that we are talking about between Rassie and Temba Bavuma, we did see that with the Indian team, and as you can see in that scorecard as well, Temba Bavuma and Rassie van der Dussen 129 not out and 110. That was the differential between the two sides, in my opinion.
That's right. Centurions are the ones, the 2 centurions that made the difference, because if Indian bowlers had been slightly more effective, things could have been different. And that's another thing we will discuss. But let's also take a look at how well Rassie van der Dussen and Temba Bavuma batted. If Temba Bavuma was there holding one end, soaking in the pressure after having lost 3 quick wickets, Rassie van der Dussen seemed like he was batting on a completely different track. And I think Temba Bavuma said it also in the post-match presentation, where he said, I don't know what track Rassie was batting on, because for me, it was difficult. The pitch was dry, and there was uneven bounce as well.
Yeah, true. It wasn't a very easy wicket to bat on. It wasn't flat at all. But Rassie van der Dussen, he has been backed as one of those who can revive South African cricket. He's a terrific batsman, very technically sound, and with his stroke playing, he scored 9 boundaries and a couple of sixes. But he showed what caliber he's built on. He has that range of strokes. With himself, Temba Bavuma, where he was looking a bit cautious. Rassie van der Dussen at the same time was continuously hitting boundaries, and those crucial over where Ravichandran Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal were to dominate. That is where Rassie van der Dussen absolutely killed the game. He didn't allow the spinners to dominate the show. He was sweeping the ball really well, and even in the post-match press conference, Meha, Rassie van der Dussen said that sweeping and reverse sweeping Chahal and Ashwin was one of the key plans for himself personally, and we have to admit that he executed that plan very perfectly on in the first ODI, and I won't be surprised if he continues this form in this entire ODI series, the last 2 remaining matches.
That's right. I also love the way he was standing, because I think the mic was really much lower than where, wasn't really coming up to him, and he just sort of spread his legs and tried to come down to that level. So there is that character, that personality also to him. But also, let's talk about how Indian bowlers were not as effective. And this is not just the pacers. Bhuvneshwar Kumar coming back was expensive. And also the question being now, Shubhayan, that this has been Bhuvneshwar Kumar's problem for the last 1 year or so. We haven't really seen the Bhuvneshwar Kumar that we've seen in the past since that comeback from injury. And also the spinners as well. I mean, you compare the 2 spinners from India to South Africa, clearly far more effective. And of course, credit also has to be given to Temba Bavuma and how he applied the pressure with first getting Aiden Markram to bowl, right in the beginning, and also just the way he got Shamshi for Virat Kohli. And Virat Kohli got out to that sweep shot. So it was a combination of it all with Temba Bavuma's captaincy. But for Indian bowlers, that was a disappointing performance.
100% agree there with you, Meha. I think Indian bowlers. Let's start with Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Even when he made his comeback against England at home earlier, and then played against Sri Lanka when the second string side visited their country when India were playing that test series against England. Bhuvneshwar Kumar looked very flat against those two teams as well. He doesn't have that express pace as we say. He doesn't bowl 145. He never bowled 145 clips. So that separates him with the express pacers. So he majorly depends on the swing and seam. And when he doesn't find those swing and seam, I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar has largely struggled. And when it comes to economical factor as well, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, as we know, is a very disciplined bowler. When he's not getting wickets, he has that ability to restrict the run flow. But the Bhuvneshwar Kumar off late after the injury, I think he has lost that cutting edge when it comes to his bowling. When the ball is not swinging, then Bhuvneshwar Kumar falls pretty flat, is falling pretty flat. We can say that. And along with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, I think Shardul Thakur was expensive as well, conceded 72 runs. There, Ashwin also wasn't getting any assistance as much. Yuzvendra Chahal also looked a bit flat. But as you said, we have to credit the captaincy there as well. The way Temba Bavuma used Aidan Markram straight away in the power play, restricted the run flow there. It is not an easy move to introduce your sixth bowling option right away in the power play, especially when he's an off spinner. So kudos to Temba Bavuma for taking that risk. But yes, India, they have carried plenty of pace bowlers to South Africa. But let's see whether they experiment in the second or third ODI or not.
That's right, and that's why I get to my next question, which is why was it that when weren't being effective, that Venkatesh Iyer wasn't even given an over? I mean, how does one explain
Absolutely,
that?
that was a shocker. That was a shocker.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there, and you can completely contradict me. But did you feel the need of a wrist spinner in the Indian side?
See, the last time India won the series 5-1, it was Kuldeep and Yuzvendra Chahal who dominated the show. But this time around, Yuzvendra Chahal, he is not that Yuzi Chahal anymore who used to, has that sort of confidence. And he's a thinking bowler, but he's somewhere
Yeah,
lacking that partner. We can say he's lacking that confidence
absolutely.
behind the stumps as well. When MS Dhoni used to come up and say, "Chal ulta dal le ya idhar se dal le, udhar se dal le," we are not seeing that sort of confidence that a wicket keeper gives to his spin bowler. Plus, that yesterday was the first time that Ravichandran Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal were bowling together for the first time in the ODI. So that chemistry, that hunting in pair, it is not
Yeah,
that there yet when it comes to Ashwin and Chahal. So I think it will take some time for these two to get grips on their bowling and on their tactical prowess as well. But I think yes, when Ravindra Jadeja comes in fit, it will be a very very tricky call whom to pick between Ashwin and Chahal. And there's a Washington Sundar as well. Don't forget.
that's right. But they keep going back and forth on this. That the reason why you got Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav in the first place was Indian bowlers were unable to get the wickets, and they thought that it was better to get both of them to bowl. But then Ashwin comes back, and now again, suddenly I'm sure the stock will begin if Indian bowlers are not that effective as well. And also, we know how short public memory is. But let's talk about KL Rahul and how all eyes were on how KL Rahul would be on the field with his captaincy decisions. What did you make of it? He was under pressure in the test match in Johannesburg. Of course, there was this criticism that he's not as intense as you see Virat Kohli be on the field. But then, hey, this is post Virat Kohli era, and now KL Rahul has taken over in place of Rohit Sharma. What did you make of his captaincy?
Oh, I think there has been a division of opinions when it comes to KL Rahul's captaincy. Obviously, KL Rahul is a very popular figure amongst the Indian fans when it comes to batting. But when it comes to captaining the side, he hasn't impressed a bit for Kings 11 Punjab Kings in the IPL. He lost his only test as a captain against South Africa in the second test in Johannesburg. So it was reminded to him in the pre-match press conference as well, and he did admit that he is not a thinking captain. He doesn't have too many tactics up his sleeves. But Meha, when you are he's not a full-time captain yet. But giving an audition, this was sort of his option to give an audition for his captaincy skills, and at least take a claim for the test captaincy. But I think whatever we saw of KL Rahul when it comes to captaincy in this format, at least I think he falls pretty short uh, with his tactical acumen. At least I think not using Venkatesh Iyer as the sixth bowling option when you have a option available, and you are seeing Temba Bavuma and Rassie van der Dusen not getting flinched by either of your top five bowlers, then I think there's no harm in experimenting with your sixth bowling option. And there were pretty much there were many skepticism when he gave himself the option to open again in the ODI format. So I think these two calls, I think he needs to sit with Rahul Dravid and figure out which is the best way to go about this series, because you don't have any other option than to win the second ODI, which will be played again in Paarl tomorrow.
Yeah, and the other decision of him opening when he's actually been good in the middle order, and given that India yet again from 138 for one slipped to 214 for eight, he would have provided that stability in the middle order given the kind of form he's in. That decision also comes into question.
100%. And when you have a talented youngster like Ruturaj Gaikwad sitting in the bench, why not give him the chance? He's scoring centuries for fun in the domestic circuit. So clearly he is better talent just to be wasted on domestic cricket. If he's there, then why not use him? Give him the chance. Test him whether he's capable of facing the South African pacers in South African conditions. Test him. Give him a shot. You are a proven opener. KL Rahul is a proven opener, and we know that even if he opens someday with Rohit Sharma or with Shikhar Dhawan, we know that he is capable of scoring runs. And so is he in the middle order spot. When he was batting at 4 and 5, KL Rahul was fantastic. He was scoring runs at a brisk pace, more than 100 strike rate in ODI format. For a number 5 or number 4 batter is terrific. He averages more than 50 as a middle order bat in the ODI format. And we saw KL Rahul has that range of strokes to play in that middle order, and play the role of an aggressor if needed. If there are short of overs, KL Rahul can play the aggressor. If there's a top order collapse, then KL Rahul can come in and play as a anchor role. But when you have Shikhar Dhawan who is going at a brisk pace, KL Rahul, he scored 12 runs, but not for a single moment, Meha. He looked comfortable there. He was slowing down the track. He gave too much respect to Aidan Markram, who is at max a mediocre off-spin option. So I think I was pretty disappointed at these two decisions. Straight away, he said he's going to open the innings. But in my opinion, when you have a talented player like Ruturaj Gaikwad, and you know that Rohit Sharma is going to come back into the scheme of things again when fit, then why not continue with your position which you were batting when Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma were there at 5 or 4?
That's a good point, but because this also then puts a scrutiny on India's middle order, and that trouble's been continuing for a while now. Yet again, the way Shreyas Iyer got out, the way Rishabh Pant got out, this is a serious problem. Venkatesh Iyer also would have wanted to perform better on debut, but the way he got out, how does India solve this problem? Because I know that they're looking at 2023. But this is pretty much the team that is possibly going to play in 2023. This is the batting. I mean, you can get a Rituraj Gaikwad to open, but the middle order, except for a Surya Kumar Yadav, this is the team. So what does India do from here?
100%. I think this is the time to experiment. Bilateral series, ODI series doesn't hold much importance. Even if you lose, no one will remember what happened 5 years back, unless it is a 5-1 win, series win, or a 3-0 clean sweep. But India are a far better team than how they played yesterday. Middle order, Shreyas Iyer, as soon as he came, we all talked about it in the test, during the test series, that whether if Shreyas Iyer plays in South Africa in test cricket, he will be bounced out. And that is where Lungi and Gidi
Yeah.
targeted him straight away. As soon as Shreyas Iyer walked in, he was being targeted with the bouncers. Same for Rishabh Pant. The South African pacers didn't let them get settled down on the pitch for a moment, and that is where these international teams are very shrewd when it comes to tactics. You don't get much time in international cricket. You will get found out pretty soon, and that is where Shreyas Iyer, I think, lacked a bit of responsibility and courage, I would say, in his first match in this tour. But Venkatesh Iyer, again, if you are playing Venkatesh Iyer, then he needs to bowl. He needs to bowl. If you are playing him as a specialist batter, then I think Surya Kumar Yadav, with the experience he has under his belt in domestic cricket and in IPL, I think he's a far better option at number 5 or number 6 if you are playing him just as a pure batter. If Venkatesh Iyer is in the playing 11, then you squeeze that talent, get him to bowl. If you don't see Venkatesh Iyer getting hammered for 10 of 80, then you won't know whether he can sustain that pressure or not. So he needs to fail to, Dravid and KL Rahul or Rohit Sharma to know whether he is able to sustain that sort of pressure or not. So yeah, pretty much disappointed with
Yeah,
KL
that's right.
Rahul's
I think the only
first outing
batsman
as
who looked
captain.
comfortable. Absolutely. I think the only batsman who looked comfortable was Shikhar Dhawan, and he was under tremendous pressure. There has also been talk about whether, you will see Shikhar Dhawan in the plans till 2023, age not being on his side, strike rate at times in the recent times has come into question, but he seemed to be the only one who was comfortable there on that track. Even Virat Kohli, who spotted him at the other end, just got out in the most unusual fashion. He was playing far more sweeps, and you know that that's not the Virat Kohli who's in form or who's looking good in the middle.
Absolutely. Let's start with Shikhar Dhawan at front. He didn't have a good Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy. He didn't have a good Vijay Hazare trophy. So he was under pressure. This was being tipped as his final chance in the ODI setup or a limited over setup. But Shikhar Dhawan, with all the criticism that he has faced, he has continued to score runs for India in this specific format. At least in the ODI format, he has been really, really good in the last couple of years. Shikhar Dhawan, I think the only complaint we can say, that let's look forward to the future and bring in Ruturaj Gaikwad or Rohit Sharma or KL Rahul when they both are fit. But Shikhar Dhawan, for what all he has done, he has scored runs, and he's scoring runs at a brisk pace in the last couple of years. So there are no complaints of Shikhar Dhawan, and it will be very, very hard to drop Shikhar Dhawan after the sort of start he has had in this series so far. But yes, Virat Kohli, the kind of shot he played of Tabraiz Shamsi to get out, I think every one of us was disappointed to see that sweep shot
Yeah.
come off out of nowhere. Virat Kohli was playing straight. He was knocking the ball pretty fantastically. He was looking in good touch. He was looking comfortable. The pitch was playing good. But again, I don't know. I think there's some sort of curse going around when it comes to his 71st century.
Yes, I think with that, we wrap this up. The second match, the second ODI, will be played tomorrow at Boland Park. Thank you so much, Shubhain, for joining us. That's it on this. Hopefully, India can bounce back from here in the second ODI. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.